Texting my husband. Hold on, I'm filming for YouTube. You want your pacifier? Here you go. Are you gonna be a good boy when mommy films a video today? I know, make no promises. Don't make any promises you can't keep. Okay? It's okay. It's okay. Alright, son. Let's see if that'll hold you over. Nice one, Baba. I think that's good. Guys, I hope you guys are all doing well and having a great day so far. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe. I will be posting new videos every single Friday now that I'm getting used to things, so make sure that you are subscribed and you've hit that notification bell. Today I'm going to be doing like a get ready with me because it's so rare that I'm actually getting ready. So I wanted to talk to you guys about my birth story, just kind of everything that happened and feelings and everything on that. I thought about getting dressed up and all fancy and stuff for a video, but that is just not me because that is just not real life. This is real life. This is me. No makeup on. I have bags clearly under my eyes because I have a new little buddy behind me that likes to stay up and party all night. I am basically his supervisor and I gotta keep an eye on him, and so he doesn't get me in trouble at nighttime. And so that's what's happening now. I'm to see just how I can get this done. I have a baby swinging in the background and I'm at home with my daughter Cora, who's 3 years old. So I'm going to attempt to really do a video with 2 kids with me. So let's make it happen.
Bin out and 2 bins.
Yeah.
And then take lots of bins.
That's okay. You can take 2 bins out and play with whatever toys you like, and then we can do cleanup time later. I love you too. So what I'm doing today just with this is very basic. It's very simple. I don't have an hour to do my makeup, and even if I did, I probably wouldn't. I think I'd probably spend more time just on my skin and really not the actual makeup I'm putting on. So I guess this could be just like an everyday mom makeup look, but I'm not gonna focus too much on just like showing you guys really what I'm doing and telling you the brands and stuff, because I just really want to talk about the birth, my 3rd baby, which happened to be a boy. If you guys do not know this, I got pregnant and it's my 3rd baby, and we decided to not know the gender. We decided to do a surprise gender. We thought it would just be really fun, something old school. Deodorant, because that's a part of my routine and it's a must. It actually makes me feel really good, especially if you're breastfeeding. I'm going to be putting on sunscreen for blue lighting, which is the lighting that's in your phones, on cameras, in front of the computer, and even the lighting I have to film this video. This is very important for me because I have lupus, and so I'm sensitive to these things, and so this just really protects me so I don't go into a lupus flare. And then on top of that, I'm going to go ahead and put some actual sunscreen. Every 4 weeks, I found out that the baby was breeching. The baby was turned around. Super scary for me because I was really avoiding a C-section. I'd had an outpatient surgery before, and it simply was terrible. I ended up in ICU, which should have been just like a 10-minute procedure, and I just ended up almost losing my life. And so I was really terrified of the thought of a C-section. I know it's very common. A lot of people have done it. I've had people in my family have had one, but for me, I just felt like that was something that I was really trying to avoid. Thankfully, I just really made a miracle happen. Actually, my son made his own miracle happen. I went in for an ECV, exactly 37 weeks, and this little guy just wanted to have mommy wake up at 4 a.m. and be checked into the hospital bright and early, and for no gosh darn good reason. He wanted mommy to get an IV for no gosh darn good reason. He just wanted to play a game on me. So they went in to do the procedure. Doctors are ready, and guess what? This little fella flipped himself. You know, best miracle, best relief I've had in, you know, the past month, because I had been trying to move his little body in the right position myself, doing all these crazy exercises. Anyways, a week later, now baby's flipped, I have to go in for my induction, the reason I had to be induced. So being induced because of my systemic lupus, there's just a lot of risks that could happen. One of them was just, the thought of stillbirth happening, and of course, terrified me. And so I always went in for the induction. So I went in at 38 weeks to be induced. They started off with the Epidural, which if you don't know, it's like this little dental floss thing, and they wrap it around your cervix. If this is TMI, then you might want to turn the video off, because I'm very honest and open on my channel, and that's just a part of labor and birth and bringing a new life in. And so that was in, I want to say, for about 12 hours. Before that, I have to tell you, this was not a very fun experience for me. So going into the hospital, I had to get a COVID test when I was there, and that was totally fine. And I understand, and that should be done, the correct cautions and everything, because we're in a hospital and that's just what needs to be done. But I went in to have my COVID test done, and the nurse shoved it up so much in my nose that it really started bleeding, and I had blood clots coming out both sides of my nose. And this is before my induction had even just begun. I checked in around midnight at night, so I was already so exhausted. I was emotionally stressed because I was sad about leaving my 2 girls behind, and it was hard for me, and having that pain in my nose and everything, and the blood clots coming out, and me coughing up blood, and then I started throwing up blood because it was really making me nauseous after getting the COVID test. And it wasn't a good start to jump starting labor, let's just say that. And my husband wasn't very happy either, because he gets COVID tests all the time, so he's protected, and he's making sure he's doing his duty in our community. And he said never has his nose bled, and he's had blood clots and everything, and it was just awful, just awful. Anyways, induction starts around midnight, 1 in the morning. My husband fell asleep, so I'm just hanging out there, and I really didn't get that much sleep because I had the nurse coming in and asking me tons of questions. I really didn't have any cramping. They put me on the monitor, and they said I was already in very early stages of labor myself, because I think I was like 2 centimeters dilated, and I was having contractions on my own. And so that was exciting for me, because that had never happened. I've always had to be forcefully put into any type of labor, so I was like, oh, this is gonna be a breeze, this baby's gonna come fast. But no, that's not what happened. So the next morning came, and the Epidural just didn't do much. It didn't do much for me, and so they wanted to talk about their next plan of action. This hospital really wanted to push Pitocin, and from previous experience, that was the last thing I wanted to do. I knew that Pitocin would be my ultimate last resort. I mean, right before a C-section, and so that had me very much concerned. Pitocin just really intensifies contractions to the point where they're truly unbearable for me, and I know a lot of other people, they can't handle that. And so I told them no on Pitocin. I said, let me just see what my body does on its own, and they agreed. They said, you know what, you're still having consistent contractions, and they were getting stronger, and they were to the point where it was very painful. And I got into shower, and I was walking around, and I was jumping on my ball, and I was doing everything I could to maintain these contractions, because they said if this isn't maintained, then we will consider doing Pitocin and everything. So I said, all right, I gotta do what I can do on my end. So that took like maybe 4 hours, and then I hadn't slept like pretty much at all. And then I ended up getting really comfortable. My husband put on Breaking Bad on his computer. Traction significantly slowed down, but my body had been pretty much drained at that point because everything was getting stronger and I needed a break. And so I laid down, and I was actually actually able to sleep. I mean, that was great for me, great for my body, but when the nurse came in to check on me, said, oh no, you know, they've slowed down too much. And so then it was like, okay, well, what's the next step? I said no again to Pitocin, and I said, I requested, because I've had it before, I asked for the Foley balloon, and she said, are you sure? Nobody really asked for the Foley balloon. And I said, yeah, give me the Foley balloon, because the Foley balloon forcefully, I guess, I mean, I don't want to use forcefully, but at the same time, you know, that's really what it was. Forces my body to have natural contractions opposed to chemical induced Pitocin contractions. And so I was just all about the Foley balloon. I was like, all right, let me just do what I can bear. Give me the Foley balloon. Doctor comes in and does it. And it's these two little balloons that go alongside your cervix. And the goal is to make one side of the balloon the size of a grapefruit, which is the size of your stuck up your hoo-ha. Anyway, they said, you know, Pitocin goes hand in hand with the Foley balloon, and I was just kind of like, you know, can you please give me a couple hours just on my own with the Foley balloon, and then if nothing has changed with the Foley balloon, because I'm still stuck at a 2, could you please give me a couple hours? If I'm still stuck at a 2 and my body's not changing on its own without Pitocin, then I'll consider Pitocin. Because I said the only way I will consider Pitocin is if I get an epidural. And so that was the plan. We waited a few more hours because they said, you know, once the Foley balloon is in place, they won't check it for 12 hours. And I said, what? You know, like, what? Like, what if, like, I'm already at a 9 and, you know, the 12 hours isn't up? And so they're like, if you really feel like you need to push or something, then yes, then probably we'll check it. And that's exactly what happened. So he went to go check the Foley balloon, and ooh, I'm getting this makeup all over the place. I think I'm putting too much on. Anyways, he went and checked, and guess what? My little body pushed itself from, I think, a 2 to a 6 or 7 in a short amount of time. That's within like maybe 2 hours. So everything was going awesome there. And then their next thing was like, all right, you know, I really think that we should do Pitocin. And before they said that, I was on a call with both of my daughters, and they were crying, and they missed mommy, they missed daddy, and they said, mommy, you said you were gonna have a baby, you lied to me. And I was like, I'm doing my best. Like, I wish it was just that easy where I'd snap my fingers and the baby would come out, but it's just really not that easy. But it broke my heart to feel like, you know, my daughters are at home, they needed me, they needed dad. And so I remember from past labors and delivery that once I got an epidural, my body expanded all the way to 10 like this, and I pushed that baby out, both babies, in less than 10 minutes. And so my thought process was, the sooner I get this baby out, the sooner I can go see my other baby. I said, fine, I'll get an epidural. My main goal going into this was to avoid an epidural because I really wanted to see what it'd feel naturally. Crazy, I know, because it's just, I mean, what I did with pain. And so I did my best, but I ended up getting the epidural because I wanted to see my girls. And so I wanted to see if that's really, you know, how my body was going to react. The anesthesiologist comes in to do my epidural, and before I was allowed to get the epidural, they said I had to go through like 2 liters, I believe, of, I don't know if 2 liters, I don't know, 2 bags full of just fluids before I was allowed to get an epidural. So they start putting the fluid into my arm at a rapid pace, and by the time the anesthesiologist got to my room, first of all, the lights were off, and he was like, all right, I'm getting ready. And I was like, do you need the lights on to put a needle in my spine? And he was like, no, because it's all by feel, I'm okay with the lights off. I looked at Robbie, my husband, and I said, turn the lights on. And he was like, yeah, I agree, like, turn the lights on. Like, no way in hell I'm gonna let somebody stick a needle on my wife's back with the lights off. And so turn the lights on, and we looked down at my arm, and my arm is huge. This was completely swollen, and the nurse was pretty much like, oh no, I think it's called infiltrated or something like that. I kind of remember that word because she said it multiple times, and she took it off, and she said basically the IV went through my vein and started filling up just the tissues in my arm instead. And so they had to do 3 or 4 IVs in my opposite arm just to get everything that I needed. And I'll tell you everything I needed as we get there. So I have the fluids going on in my arm so far. And he does the epidural, and I gotta say, it was so, I don't know, just so scary, so uncomfortable, so cringe. Every time he stuck that needle in, I could feel and I felt like I could hear it scraping against my spine, and it was very uncomfortable. It's just something like I never want to do, but I end up getting it each time. And so I had that done, and then I can feel it just really harshly in my right leg, but nothing in my left leg. I could move my left leg around. I could not for the life of me lift up my right leg, and that was kind of scary. And I kept pressing the button. They gave you this button to increase the medicine that epidural gives you, so it could be numb if you feel too much pain. And let me tell you, I was just feeling too much pain. And so I pressed this button, and then my blood pressure dropped, and the nurse had to give me blood pressure medicine into another IV. And then she was monitoring the baby, and the doctor thought it'd be a good idea to make my water break. So they stick this little hook thing up into your uterus, and they pop it on their own, and then they pressed my stomach really hard to where it was just like it was flushing out so much. All this fluid, my water was everywhere. I had puddles on the floor on the bed below me, and they had to clean it up multiple times. And then it was a couple hours after that, and they noticed that the baby's heart rate, what's going on, son? What's going on? The baby's heart rate started to drop. Meanwhile, my blood pressure was dropping, his heart rate was dropping, and my husband was asleep, and I was just trying to just be calm. It was like 3 a.m. in the morning. I hadn't slept that entire night either. I hadn't slept for like 2.5 days. It was just a very strange feeling. Like I was trying to make these big decisions while I just had no sleep, and I wanted my husband to rest because I knew the baby would probably be here very soon. And so in case something happened to me, based on my past and being in the ICU, I wanted to make sure that my husband was very just awake and coherent and could make big decisions. And so I laid there, and they decided to fill up my uterus again with fluid. I still don't know exactly what they filled my uterus up with. They said, you know, the baby's heart rate is dropping, and it could be because I lost too much of my water now, and now the baby doesn't have enough water, and each contraction was compressing him, and so he wasn't really protected by the fluid in the uterus. And so they filled up my uterus. They stuck like this really long, I don't know if it was a catheter, but it was just like a really thick, long looking straw, taped it to my leg with the Foley balloon and stuck it up there and filled it with water. And then they found that his heart rate did start to improve. And then they started to put me on Pitocin. You know, they wanted this baby out, and they also said they couldn't, you know, really up my dosages of Pitocin because the baby's heart rate would drop with each contraction, so they didn't want to make the contractions too strong. And the nurse left, and I made just this gut decision on my own. I was terrified that something was gonna happen to my baby because of his heart rate dropping. So I was like, I'm feeling a lot of pressure down there. I don't think it's enough to have the baby come out, but I'm gonna try. So each contraction, I just started pushing, and I'm not recommending anybody do it because everybody is different, but I felt like my body was very close to being ready to deliver, and I felt I was really just on this time crunch, you know, for my health, for the baby's health especially. And so I started pushing with each contraction. I could feel them all on my left side so bad, no matter how much I pressed the epi button, and it was very painful. And so the nurse came in, and I told her, you know, I feel pressure down there. I really feel like I have to push. And she got very excited. This poor nurse, she went above and beyond for me. She had to do all the IVs, and she had to keep checking on me, the baby, heart rate. Like, I know she had other patients she had to attend to, but she really didn't because I was very high maintenance. The cool thing about this nurse was that she was the one that was monitoring me each time I had to go in for my high risk appointments, you know, 2 times a week that I was filming. She was the one that would watch me and the baby. So she knew me, she knew my history, she knew that the baby was breech at one point, and she's just there for it all. She goes and she gets the cart ready. They wheel in this cart for when the baby is going to be delivered, and at that point it was like maybe like 4:20 a.m. or something like that, 4:40ish. I don't know. I just know that the baby was born a.m. in the morning. The nurse comes in, does the cart, goes and rounds up everybody pretty much, and then she goes and gets my doctor, and he had been asleep in the doctor's lounge, and she says it's time. And so I waited for him to come in, and then he came in, and this was the most just awkward delivery I think I've ever had, just out of all my 3. I would have a contraction, and then we would wait, and I'm not kidding you, we would wait for, I don't know, it seemed almost like 6 minutes in between like each contraction, and that's a really long time. I mean, my contractions when delivering, every minute and a half, boom, 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 and this just was not the case. So it was like, okay, let me know when you have a contraction, and I was just like, okay, and then we just sit there, and then each time I had a contraction, I made sure to really my absolute hardest, and then some. I did about probably 3 pushes and 1 contraction just so I could get it out. I don't think I even took a breath. I just wanted the baby out just to have them be safe. That's all I cared about. And I really just wanted just all that to be over so we could just really relax, enjoy our baby, and know that everything was fine. So the baby starts to come out, and the doctor says, what do you think it is, boy or girl? The doctor said, I think it's a girl because they're obeying so much. He said boys' heart rates tend to be all over the place, but now that everything's fine, he felt like, you know, it was a girl because the just perfect heart rhythm and everything during delivery. And then all of a sudden he said that, and the baby's heart rate dropped significantly again, and he was like, okay, I changed my mind. And I told him, you know what, I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna say it's a girl just to not get my husband's hopes up. And then my husband of course said, you know, it's a boy, I'm all for a boy, because you know what husband doesn't root for a boy? So he was obviously a boy. And so the doctor goes to pull our son out and does it halfway, just almost to the point of where you can't see his gender, and he does it on purpose, and he's like, okay, I'm taking him out, and then he just stops, and we're like, hurry up, you know, pull the baby out. So we want to know if it's a boy or girl, and it was a boy, and I could not tell you how ecstatic my husband was. I don't know if this is hot enough. I don't think I waited long enough. He was very, very excited, and almost immediately, I mean, they put the baby on me, and my first words were like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. Like, I can't believe we have a boy type thing. And then I almost immediately fell asleep. Normally, mothers get to sit in a wheelchair and get to take their baby and hold their baby into the recovery room, and unfortunately because I wasn't able to move, I had so many things connected to me, something was really going on with my right leg. I mean, I could not move it whatsoever, so I had to be put onto another bed, a gurney, and I had to be someone pushed me in that, and my husband got to be the one to hold the baby and just wheel him in his little bassinet, hospital bassinet. This is a new curling iron, and honestly, I'm not very good at doing this. I'm not really good at doing like girly things, as you can tell, but I'm trying. I'm making a real effort here. Of course, they did all the weighing and stuff like that, and so that was really cool. And then I just headed off into recovery, and that was the beginning of this chapter of our life. So that was my birth. I didn't leave anything out, I don't think. I do have to mention that food there was really good in the hospital, and I don't think that's normal. See, you guys, how I get one perfect curl and then I get this. Oh, well, I guess that doesn't look too bad on camera, but it's not looking right, and I'm just not good at this. I just want it to be pretty. I just want it to be pretty, and it's not working. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys for following me on this journey. I really included a lot with you guys. I really took you guys to everything. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and just keep in mind I am posting again every single Friday. Know that if you happen to be going through something tough right now, just know that tomorrow's a brand new day, and if I can get through it, you can definitely get through it. Go ahead and leave me suggestions on what kind of videos you'd like to see down below in the comment section, and follow me on Instagram. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. Bye.